Hello, everyone. Today we will be explaining unilateral neglect. It's a brain disorder. First, let's review some important brain structures to understand this condition. There are four main lobes or sections of the brain. The frontal lobe helps with intelligence, emotions, problem solving, language, and more. The parietal lobe with sensation, perception, and interpretation of the world. The temporal lobe interprets sound into words and language. And the occipital lobe helps us understand vision. The brain has two hemispheres or halves. Unilateral neglect is often an injury to the right hemisphere responsible for emotions, artistic ability, music, creativity, imagination, and more. This disorder can also occur in the left hemisphere but is far less common. The left hemisphere is responsible for logic, reasoning, science, math, planning, and writing. The brain crosses electrical pathways with opposite sides of the body. The left hemisphere of the brain controls the right side of the body, and the right hemisphere of our brain controls the left side of the body. For example, if you write with your right hand, your left brain is telling you to do so. Now, you might be thinking, what is unilateral neglect and who does it happen to? Commonly, it occurs in people who suffer from a stroke or another injury to certain parts of the brain. A stroke is when the blood flow to our brain is blocked due to a clot or the blood vessel breaks. This can happen to someone who has had a stroke to the lower right frontal or parietal lobes, or the space between the temporal and the parietal lobe called the temporoparietal junction. A stroke usually occurs in one half of the brain. This would cause the electrical communication between the brain and the body to be blocked. The person would lose the ability to attend to what those lobes are responsible for on the affected half. The other half is functioning normally. Unilateral neglect is a brain injury affecting one half or a unilateral side of the brain. The brain ignores or neglects recognizing the spaces on that side. The brain is unable to pay attention to the physical space outside of the body known as extrapersonal space and or within their own body or personal space. While symptoms do vary depending on the areas of the brain injured, unilateral neglect generally affects how our senses absorb and respond to information on one side of the body and opposite half of the brain. That being said, this attention disorder has roots in the brain. It is not simply behavioral. Next up, we have an example.